So looks like we've moved up overnight. Uh, so gonna have to reevaluate everything, at least on the intermediate time frame. Um, Makes sense that we're moving up. It makes sense obviously because I was surprised Friday was so choppy. I would have expected Friday to actually head up to here. I was surprised that it didn't just move more. There was no news this morning, but or there's an orange folder after the open, so I'm a little curious as to why it's moving up right now, but we'll have to figure that out. So we've got new week opening gaps, gap ups on everything. It's all been rebalanced. YM is still way weaker. It hasn't even broken above this wick high, whereas everything else, Russell is already above this into the weekly fair value gap. Uh, and ES and Q. ES is about a tap. I guess it almost tapped that inefficiency here. I'm guessing this is the, was that the weekly? Oh, it's a daily inversion. It's really far. Shorten that up. So there's a daily inversion, fair value gap there. There's the same thing here on NASDAQ. We've got the SMT playing out. Russell's much higher, though it also had a lower consolidation. So it looks like it's finally just catching up. And bearish SMT on YM and Russell. So could mean that this is going to be a rejection here, which could make sense. It would make sense for Russell to come back down and take out these lows. Doesn't mean it needs to. But on the daily so far, we are displacing away, but can't write home about that yet. 4 hour, now we do have some fair value gaps. So 4 hour chart, we got a fair value gap here, a green one. That didn't show up there on YM. There is one on everything else, looks like, from here to here. This is 4, and here to here. I think we got some relative equal lows there. So yeah, we got some relative equal lows there right below the new week opening gap. So this could also be a new area of interest. Going down to the 1 hour. YM looks like it's starting to manufacture this as like equal highs. It's not quite there, but I mean, excuse me, it's close enough. And if YM's gonna head higher, I do think it'll definitely take out this high here. But yeah, 1 hour, nothing really clean here. Nothing super clean there for relative equal lows. Those are just, ES is the only one that looks super clean as a low. Um, NASDAQ had some relative equal highs here too that kind of got manufactured. So that would be interesting. Um, on the 1 hour, yeah, we just have a displacement here. So just continuing to displace. I don't like it when there's a large range in London. Um, prior to the open doesn't mean that we'll still get a nice range in New York, but usually that It's not a good sign for, especially since it's a Monday. So yeah, because it's a larger range overnight, we're up a whole percent on a lot of these. That makes for less odds for a nice range in New York for like a nice draw on liquidity that's lined up with like a 15-minute, 1 hour chart. So just gonna have to be cautious with that. Um, so far we're very bullish. We've continued to displace. There is bearish SMT. There was bearish flows into the close yesterday or Friday. Still on Russell. Um, it's nothing crazy, but it was there. So I am a little surprised by this. I would have expected like a small pullback and then up, but that didn't happen. So, but usually these premiums don't really play out until the open because that's where they want to exit. So, uh, yeah, Russell's just ripping. Has it displaced above this high? But I mean, it is displacing. We have that SMT playing out. We have this. There's no like clear SMT here. While Russell was here into this little consolidation up, small grind up. Nasdaq and ES were already pumping, so that's interesting because YM didn't do that, and it's only really reacting in correlation with Russell more so. But yeah, interesting how we had a bigger move up here. We did have draws on liquidity, very clean ones, so it makes sense that we would do that. And then we had that candle wick lower. I'm not seeing anything like SMT here. So let's look. So yeah, Asia. So we got the open, consolidates, comes down, chops at the lows. I guess we had SMT there on Russell, but it's not like super super significant. Or yeah, it's not super like obvious. Um, and on that same time, Nasdaq came down, held the low, ES came down, and then yeah, there was SMT. There was SMT and everything at these lows. Now let's look over at London. London takes the highs, comes back down. YM comes back down to retest this consolidation. So there's SMT there. Boom, get the move after London into the end of London at 6:30 time frame. Uh, wouldn't have seen that coming, honestly. Yeah, it is near a time frame to look for a trade, but I just was not looking for that. If we compare ES and Nasdaq, there was SMT with these guys too. Nasdaq holding up strong, ES digging deeper, SMT with YM. So makes sense we moved there. So yeah, and now we're getting Russell starting to be weak. We're into a little high time frame PD array now. We're rejecting here. Um, looks like everybody has rejected this 745, 730 level. Oh, this is 630 New York, 615 New York. That's funny. Yeah, so this is way early. This was like 4 a.m. for me. Okay. Yeah, no, I wouldn't have expected that at all. Didn't expect that at all. Kind of a odd move for from my perspective. So yeah, kind of tricky. Uh, I think I'm gonna have to change my plans here. I think I'd look for. I mean, I wouldn't get short. I really look for a long, and I think I'm gonna wait for the open for that, so that I have the flows to kind of help guide me. If we see some bullish flows while price is coming down, that's exactly what I'd want to see. That makes the most sense to me. The chart's just going up when I thought it could go down. It'd have to go really far down, which could happen too. But we'll look for what happens at the open on the premiums. But as for now, this isn't, I'm not super confident trading this. Russell's reached into that weekly PD array. I'd expect it to reverse for at least a minute. Don't know how deep it would want to go. The bearish flows from Friday were not super bearish by any means. They were just barely bearish to get like a small revert, like a retrace. So it's still possible this area of interest from yesterday that I planned out is still in play. You know, we could come all the way back down, but as for now, things are slightly bearish because of that SMT here. We're getting a really strong SMT with the Dow Jones, so it makes sense if the Dow takes the high out or something and creates some SMT. So that's my other idea actually. So what I'd want to see for a short, um, what I want to see for a short is SMT. So I'd want to see these all these guys start to kind of reverse and then bounce, and in that bounce, YM just like takes off out of nowhere, takes out the high, but then still holds this area, and then I'd want to get short YM and probably just target internal range liquidity. But if it's a short, I wouldn't want to take out, this high, and it would make sense to take this one out, but and there's lots of areas here to reject here. So this is just an order block. You could also just reject here, but yeah, I'd look for some sort of SMT, um, relative strength showing up here, or let's see, what Nasdaq's taking out this high, ES is taking out the high. There's no like clear SMT in these guys, just with YM. So maybe I'd want to see Nasdaq start to get weak or ES also start to get weak, but only in correlation to Nasdaq or ES. And I'd look for YM to SMT, and could be a short in Russell too. So that's what I'd look for. I'd look for a SMT short with YM making a new high, or uh, what else? I mean, these are the same levels. Yeah, short and Russell would make a lot of sense too if we got that SMT. So Russell's in a higher time frame, reversal area. A short in Dow would also make sense. I mean, it is the weakest pair, uh, index, whatever. Um, so yeah, I mean, I still like that idea to get short. I'd want to see a very obvious SMT though, and this is Thursday's New York Open. What's up here? This is the weekly. Oh, this is the weekly high up into here. So maybe YM is just going to come take out the weekly high, respect the little new week opening gap, little alignment there. Let's look at that 4 hour. Right there. Oh, Sunday, Friday. Yeah. So interesting. This is the weekly open. Um, if we SMT into this prior week open, that would make a ton of sense to get short, I think. But yeah, Nasdaq's in this reversal area too. Yes is in it. Yes could go slightly higher. It's a little confusing because, I mean, the fair value gap is still, it is, it is in a fair value gap just like Nasdaq is. Mm, but let's redraw that. Okay. So yeah, they're both technically in those fair value gaps. Maybe on the daily, this is just, I'm just gonna put it down here. It's giving me a headache thinking about that. Okay, so yeah, both are in the rejection area. Russell's in the rejection area. YM isn't really. It's just at this area. So we want to see some uncharacteristic relative strength, which aka manipulation, to occur, take out this high, and get short. YM or Russell. Russell, I'd only get short if it was very clearly SMTing and there was some sort of 2022 model market structure shift in here to base that risk on. Otherwise, I'd probably get short YM just because there's more defined stop there. Um, which, it could come take that out and the short could still work, but I feel like both would probably reject, and I do think something will set up here on Russell if we were going to get a short. But yeah, if I was to look for a long, yeah, I would wait to the open, and that's what I'm doing either way. Um, I'd wait to the open, and I'd want to see, you know, Russell come all the way back down into here, which is funny enough because that's why I should probably get short. Um, but yeah, I'd want to see a dip, and I'd want to see SMT. So I don't actually see that happening because I don't think YM's just gonna dump and take out these lows, and it just doesn't seem realistic. So yeah, I'll be looking for the short. I think the short is the only kind of logical move here. I mean, look at that, it's already kind of occurring. Nasdaq's dipping down. Russell, yes. Dow Jones is heading higher. So I like that. Uh, daily and weekly biases. Let's see. News catalysts. We've got orange, open, nothing else. Weekly biases. Higher time frame. I like higher drawn liquidity to rebalance internal range, but at the time internal range um, downsides to go higher. Yeah. The draw on liquidity, I think we've already kind of reached it. We've reached it on RTY and QES. Both of these could still head higher, but yeah. Yeah, I like what's happening here. This is exactly what I'd want to see. I'd want to see like a shift, boom, big move down, bounce into the open, YM holds up, and then bounce into the open and it comes higher, and then like does a quick little like opening freak out, because that's what always happens. And boom, that's the entry short. I'm thinking on all these. Um, what would be the weakest? Yeah, I mean they did sell their calls on SPY, but when you compare it to prior days, it is not very significant. So yeah, they really sold puts, but calls were coming down too, and then calls and puts came up. Not super crazy though. So yeah, the downside move, it just doesn't seem super strong. So I think I would probably get out as soon as I saw SMT, bullish SMT, and then, maybe flip long. All right. Probably accumulate back into the London range lows. That's probably where I'm thinking. We'll likely distribute where we are now, then re-accumulate the lows and bounce higher later. It's just a simulation. I kind of like the internal range displacement. So this displacement area, come back down, touch the order block. Um, but yeah, obviously lining that up with what's going to be happening here on YM and stuff, intermarket correlations. Looks like we got a bit of SMT here on an old New Week opening gap. So could see things start to head higher. YM is definitely doing that. So far we are getting an SMT, though it is smaller time frame, which, that's kind of what you look for, but just would make sense for, this isn't like a PD array that I trust. Oh, this high, like this, I mean, we've already tapped into this order block, so for me the only logical thing is to wait until up here. So gonna wait for that. Okay, midnight Asian sessions. So yeah, midnight was obvious accumulation. There was SMT, and now displacing, and now delivering. And London was sort of like a second stage reaccumulation type thing. London was delivery for NQES, while R2Y and YM, it was order block prior to break to delivery, or distribution, sorry. And yeah, cool. That is what is my main goal today for logical short that lines up with SMT and areas of interest, and a long that lines up with SMT and area of interest. How would you rate your sleep? Like a 3. Have you marked out areas of interest and set alerts? No. There. Set an alert there. That's about it. That's all I really need. Yeah, funny that YM is pumping here. Looks like the open is going to be looking like a nice possible short. I wouldn't want if Nasdaq and ES take out this high while YM is doing this, which is very likely, then I wouldn't really look for short. I'd wait for the oh, as long as there's SMT between them, then actually I probably would like a short still. But it is likely, we still head higher, then we have a pullback, and then we get it. It might not be this pullback necessarily, is what I'm trying to say. Have you worked out? Yes, now we have. Oh, haven't even looked at stock tickers, huh? All right, Dow Jones. Okay, so yeah, there's like a relative equal high here. Nice. And there is the obvious new week opening gap into this order block. So that's pretty clean. And it's about to take it out right now. Very interesting. So I might need to keep focus here. Russell, wait. Dow Jones, let's look at the downside. Yeah, just a little new week opening gap there. Displacement higher, lots of internal range, fair value gaps for us to come down into. Yeah, we just have this new week opening gap right. This high is lined up right with the CE of it, so interesting. IWM has displaced here. So yeah, that long idea where we come back down, rebalance the candle, makes sense. SPY. So SPY is into an old new week opening gap, prior week. Yep. And it's ripped higher, gapped up higher. Whoa. Oh yeah, that's because yeah, we don't get that Sunday trading. So yeah, we're gapping up higher. New week opening gap. This is definitely an area to reject if if we're bearish for at least short term. And QQQ is much higher than whoa. So there is a divergence here in SPY and QQQ. That may be enough. This is the Monday the 30th at 4 a.m. from Friday. So this is last week's open on SPY, whereas in QQQ we opened lower. So there is an S&T here, and Dow Jones, SMT weakness, SMT weakness here, and then IWM relative strength. But you could also say that that's manipulation. Interesting. Which one was weak? SPY. So SPY is being really weak here, which is weird because Russell's being really strong and QQQ stronger than SPY. Very odd. If we look at that Monday open on ES and Qs, that doesn't really line up. Maybe, let me look at SPX. Weird. SPX has some relative equal highs here. Hasn't opened yet. So that's where it's at right here. But Monday, just a weird level here on. I wonder if this is legit. Because that was just like a weird gap up. That wasn't there on cues. And we're almost going to take it out. I mean, look how close that is. But we'll see. It hasn't taken it out yet. Alright, so yeah, YM is heading higher. We may be getting the trade here, but ES looks like it's going to take that out. Just kind of tricky. It's not really doing what you'd want, just in a clean way. So the market hasn't opened yet, and I wouldn't want to trade before that, so I will not take any of this serious until the time is right. Only trade New York open and orange folder times. Keep size half regular size and stick to plan. Stick to trading plan ideas. So the short and the long idea. Reasons to avoid trading today: low sleep, not super obvious ops. So yeah, once this happens and it takes out this high and ES is already getting rid of that. If we don't set up that short, then don't trade. I wouldn't want to long any of this since we're already tapping into that bearish area. I would only want to look for longs as with a clear SMT, bullish SMT. So, and we've already got that big range expansion. So if we did come down into the open, unless it's really quick, I don't know if I would trade it. I wouldn't trade it because unless there's still news, the orange holder, because that's out of our kill zone and it's too late. So my summary of my plan is to look for the YM S&T short prior week high aligned with weakness in GY. Then if we reject before the news, then long. If low looks bullish, but not after the open news. PM session, develop new plan if going to trade it. All right, there we go. There's the analysis here. Let me copy this chart over so I can see. So technically this is the prior week high, but it's Sunday. So I guess we'd just be looking for the prior week open. let's not use that. It's gonna confuse my brain. So there's the high up into the daily fair value gap. So maybe just the open, because that's lined up with the new week opening gaps in that range, this liquidity area. So yeah, Sunday open. That's huge, dude. All right, yeah, here we go. Other than that, I mean, it just looks bullish for now. So yeah, I'm just gonna screenshot this to show, have reference back to what it looked like before I took any trades.